So the boards, they come in pieces. So right now we have these two decks. This is the pintail, which looks like a surfboard. And it feels like a surfboard when you're riding on the road. And then we have the snub nose. This looks a little bit meaner. It's a newer design. And the wheels stick out here so that it doesn't get wheel bite, so you can turn very sharply. And it's lighter because it's shorter. So what we do is we attach this is the most expensive part of the board. These are lithium polymer batteries. So this can carry a person for 35 kilometers. And that's our published range, but we had customers with their own GPS tracking. Some of them have done 45 kilometers.
At what speed?
The average speed is about 19 to 20 kilometers per hour. I mean, the max speed is about 36, 37 kilometers per hour, but we've had, when we do our range test on normal riding, when the GPS calculates the average speed, most people go at 19 to 20, but we had some speed demons do also above 40 kilometers. So these are ABEC 11 wheels. So if you ask any longboarder, they'll recognize these. These are flywheels, and they're used for professional longboarding at high speeds downhill. Yeah. Also very good for Malaysian roads because the 83 millimeters, they'll go through pebbles and cracks, no problem. Branded Evolve wheels, so they're completely transparent with red hubs, so they look pretty wicked on the board. So we got these in as well because it's slightly smaller and lighter. So those people are commuting and their roads are okay, they can just put these wheels on and commute to office. So that's one of the unique things about our boards, is that you can swap the wheels with traditional wheels or other branded wheels, whereas most electric skateboards, the wheel is fixed, you can't change it. Yeah. So this is a very important feature. Okay, so when you pull the trigger, it goes. You push it, it brakes. That's it. Go, stop. Then the rest is just turning. You see, if you lean that way, you see the wheels? It's like turning your steering wheel that way. And if you lean this way, then it's right. So it's basic skateboarding. You can adjust the trucks for it to be looser or tighter depending on how you feel. And it's very maneuverable. You can go into tight spaces. You can go at high speeds. You can go very safely. You can cruise at low speeds. So it's up to you how fast you want to go, where you want to go. It's a pretty simple setup, really. It's just one side. You know? So it started in a garage in Brisbane. So now we duplicate that model. So that place could support 50 to 100 boards a month. So to expand worldwide, we just duplicate that garage model. And that way the quality is handled because it's built in small quantities. So the quality assurance is very high and the support is very good because each region has its own support center. So anything that goes wrong, we can completely rebuild the board. And you know, it's a skateboard, so people ride off curbs, they bang into sidewalks and things like that. If they crack a strut or a battery box, we can just replace it quite easily. So this is our signature pintail. To me, it's light because you can carry it with one hand, and it can take you for, like I said, on average, say 30 to 35 kilometers, and you can cruise, or you can go fast, or you can just use it to commute to office. You can go on an LRT, and we're designing a bag so that we can pick it up easier.
So you get problems when you are commuting on LRT with this?
Not at all, actually. In Singapore, when I travel, because I bring one extra board for my friend, I bring two. So getting on the LRT, meeting them, go ride for 2 hours, come back, very easy. So I think this is a very good solution for last mile commuting, especially the way Malaysian LRTs are set. It's so far away from the house or the destination, the final destination. So once you get to there, you just ride the rest of the way. It's pretty cool.
All right, thank you, Brian Wong, for being on Concrete Jungle. So it's been a while since I last did a show. Like, been on a short hiatus, getting some stuff cleaned up. Now, today we're going to be talking about Evolve. Evolve is a electronic skateboard, right? And it's originated from Australia. So it's distributed for Malaysia, Singapore
and Asia.
Okay.
Excluding Korea. It's complicated. I told you before.
Okay. So before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about yourself, about your background.
Okay.
What have you been doing before Evolve?
Yeah, we've been chatting before about my sordid history. So it's
Go deep, go long. Where were you born? Which hospital? Which room?
Okay, I'm 40 years old. In my career, I started off in corporate finance. For the first 4 years, I was in a traditional corporate finance outfit called Libra Capital. Actually started with Hong Leong Capital, and then I went into Libra Capital. And then I spent another 4 years in a startup. So I was the chief operating officer of Catcha.com back in 1999, which is a long time ago.
What made you decide to go, okay, enough of multinational, I'm going to go on a startup. I'm going to go with Catcha. At a time whereby, startup was something very phenomenally new.
Yeah.
It was very infant.
Yeah.
And very uncertain. You have no clue what's up ahead,
Sure. So I guess it kind of fell into my lap because I started off in traditional corporate finance. So basically restructuring, IPOs, raising money. And if you recall, in 1998, it's the dot-com boom.
Dot-com boom. I recall it as in dot-com bust.
Yeah, dot-com bust in 2000.
Right.
Yeah. So
I thought it popped. Oh, right. Economic crisis hit 97.
96, 97 was the Asian economic crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it was a dot-com boom during that time. So what happened was I was assigned, because my corporate finance outfit, there's only 3 of us, my director and my senior manager and me. So I was assigned to identify dot-com companies for potential listing. Yeah, so it was really fun. We traveled around the region looking, sort of like this, interviewing companies, asking them about their business model, assessing their potential for listing. And that opened up my eyes. And I went on a business trip to Hong Kong. My boss then, better not drop names, but he said to me that he made his money in stockbroking.
Okay.
And he said that during my time, we will make it in internet or technology. And I thought about that. Okay, I'll take his advice. So what happened was that I brought Catcha's business model for a review, and he said he couldn't understand it, how it was going to make money, because it was based on eyeballs.
Yes.
So CPMs, all this kind of stuff, still very new for when and we were crunching numbers based on traditional things, right? What's the ROI? What's the, using weighted average cost of capital, blah, blah, and get the return on investment. So it didn't really compute the valuations. But I was really fascinated with this company's potential. And what happened over time was I told them, look, we're not interested in investing. And the founder, who's now one of my best friends, Patrick, said, well, why don't you join us directly? And I was like, hey, that's a good offer, So I joined them. I left corporate finance, went into.
So I guess it was easy because you've already foreseen the future, the potential of this business. So it's easy for you to just say, let's do this.
It's really, I was 27 at the time, and I was the old man of the group because everyone else was much younger.
Right.
But I've had the experience of listing companies and raising money. So
at 27, that itself is quite a feat to.
Yeah, so that was a big challenge. So we were riding very high. I don't know whether you remember. We should dig up these old stories of Catcha, but it was it's listed today. So
the commercial, Catcha.
Yeah, Catcha has a very fantastic history. It started off like a rocket. Right. So that's when I started. We went up. We raised something like 40 million ringgit to run the business. We expanded into 5 countries, and then in 2000, .com burst happened. Okay, so we're the week of our IPO. Our prospectus was based on the valuation of Yahoo, Star Media, all these other sort of search engines, regional search engines. So our foundation was rocked. So we postponed the IPO.
I see.
So my role became very much caretaker after that to survive, you know, for the company to survive. So it was the hardest part of my working career because it's easy when you have money and then you just want to expand.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you run out of funds, but when you're geared to raise, you know, $70 million, but suddenly we don't have the IPO, so now we have to scale back. And that's one of the hardest thing you could ever do. So we managed to do that. We trimmed down the operational costs, pivoted the business into a media business, survived the long term, made it cash flow positive, and then today is listed. Yeah.
But it's a very different Catcha from what you used to be in the past,
So
you know?
now it's a media company. So when we first started, it was a search engine.
Yes.
You know, so I think one thing you would see the companies that survive these days are those that are quick enough to pivot their business, because these days business models change overnight.
Yeah.
You know, you can be riding high and then it changes, and if your management system and your management philosophy is not quick enough to adjust, you're going to be dust. You know. Yeah.
Okay. So how many years were you with Catcha?
About 4 years.
4 years. So after that 4 years, when do you decide to say move on to the next one?
It was, as I was explaining, it was quite tough. Well, the first year was quite fun.
Yeah.
And the last 3 years was really tough because we were always survival mode, you know. And so once we got to cash flow positive, I felt that I've been quite drained. So my health was in a very poor state, and I decided to take some time off, which became permanent in the end. So I said to myself, look, I'm gonna just go on some health retreats, learn about health, recover my health, because we were doing like working till 3-4 a.m. in the morning, getting back up, working weekends, you know. So it wasn't really much. It wasn't healthy at all. It's really bad. It's very quite one-sided, and I think a lot of people do that in the corporate world today because it's so competitive.
Yes.
And that's really, you know, parents tell us don't burn the candles at both ends. It's true. There's only so much of that you can do before you burn out. So I went off, I went on some very expensive retreats. I went to Fiji to do the Tony Robbins Life Mastery, and that totally changed my thinking about life and about health, you know. And I lost a lot of weight. I've got all my energy back, you know, my skin cleared up, and I realized that, hey, this is something valuable. So in 2003, we decided to set up a wellness center. Yeah. So that business today is more than 10 years old, still, you know, something I'm very proud of. So me and my wife, we set it up, and the thing that caught me was how simple it is. So the philosophy is very simple. You don't poison the body. Right. You detoxify your body of toxins, and then you rejuvenate it by giving your body the things that it needs. Water, oxygen, water, nutrition, exercise, rest, detox. And you get miraculous transformations.
So this is what you learned when you were out on your...
Yes, in Fiji.
In Fiji.
So we thought that there's so much misleading information in the marketplace.
Yes.
You know, take this special water or take this magical pill, right? That we decided that there is room in the market for someone to actually focus on the core things that creates health, and focus on that without any of the fancy bling bling kind of things that don't work.
Was that easy to bring into Malaysia?
It was a challenge. Any business is a challenge.
Right.
It all depends on how much you believe in it. Okay, so it was easy for me personally because I had like black and white transformation. I had all my energy back. I was really, you know, I really was very passionate about sharing it with people. So that allowed me to go through the difficult parts. The difficult parts meaning setting up the company, getting the proper licenses to bring in the equipment, and building a business from scratch, like building a customer base, explaining the business, coming up with the marketing materials, because it's a business that never existed before. So it's not like, you know, so you can just take somebody else's business model and replicate that. So we had to create everything from scratch. And so if you take someone who's not passionate about the business, that would be like, oh, so hard, you know, can't survive through that. But for us, because we were so driven, it was, if I look back now, it's just a breeze, you know. Yeah.
Okay. So, what about in terms of the challenges of that business during year one? What were the most common problems you encounter with customers who walk into to the store and asking, what this is about, what is this detox
Yeah.
thing, and what's the package going to be involved? How much is it going to be involved
Yeah.
to get one whole package through?
The pure health business was there weren't any really serious challenges,
Mm.
because I think the thing that I learned after Catcha was we don't force anything. You just create something of value, you price it right, you price it below the value that you offer,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have any competitors. So the hardest bit, if you ask me, was when people who don't understand the business. So it's about spreading the message.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was great for us, because when you have something that works, the message spreads itself. So each customer would bring back at least 5 to 10 new customers. And if you look at our history of the pure health business, in our first 5 years, we've had media coverage in the Star and in the Interest Times, and these were all from customers,
Mm.
and customers who suddenly looked so good, and they had a friend who was in the media and go, oh my God, what did you do? I need to write a story about that.
Right.
So that was very beneficial to us. So if you look at our media section, and we had like celebrities, we had politicians, we had CEOs of companies, all the people that I used to work for, the big bosses, and I was the coolie. They come back because health is valuable to any human being.
Yes.
Regardless of your
Mortality,
hierarchy.
yeah.
Yeah. So so the hard part was convincing people, but when you say people, when they walk into our center, they already know that they want to do the program. So it's not like other places where we have to hard sell anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it expensive to run one program?
No,
What does it range from?
Well, the typical price of our program is from 1,005 to 2,005.
That's not too bad for what's
it's-
the deliverable?
It's a 5-day program to cleanse the body of toxins,
Mm-hmm.
and we do a lifestyle evaluation to plan out how that person's going to stay healthy thereafter. So we plan out their diet, their sleep, how to manage their stress, how to get nutrition into your body. It's very simple. So this kind of effective solutions that you can get in 5 days, very, very rare.
Mm.
For
And
people.
competition back then was a few, or would you feel that
I
back
still
then?
feel that then and now there's no competition.
Right.
Because nobody does exactly what we do.
Okay. Is it because different techniques, different methods are being done through the different companies that you're unable to see one that is in direct competition?
Yeah, in the wellness industry, in Malaysia, it's very fragmented.
Yes.
So you have your personal trainers,
Yes.
you have your yoga people, and then you have your alternative medicine people, acupuncture people, or you have whatever. But what we do is a holistic approach,
Mm.
right? So our 6 pillars of health: oxygen, water, nutrition, exercise, rest, and detox. These 6 things, which is the fundamental foundation of the cellular health. Nobody does all of it
Mm.
in one package and in such a short space of time and at the price that we charge. So how I learned about this was through the course I told you I went to Fiji.
Yes.
It was 6 days. It cost $5,000 for the program, excluding the airfare and accommodation and all that. And we charged like 1,500 to 2,500. So it's like, it's a no-brainer. So
Yeah,
we create
it
these
is.
kind of things that are very, it makes sense, for people, and it delivers results. Then it becomes more pleasant to run. Actually, the biggest challenge with our business, if you ask me, is finding people who have the same mindset as us.
Okay.
I
to
think
do-
it's an issue with all businesses these days.
Yes.
Finding talent.
Right. So people who work for you, you find it very difficult to find individuals that have
Yes.
got the strong passion
Yes.
as the founders.
Yes.
I think that's
in-
very difficult to
It's
find.
very difficult. So in our business, me and my wife are the face of the business, and we still are till today, 10 years later.
Which is rightfully so, because
Yes.
business belongs to you.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's got to be a hired person, right?
Yeah.
They're not real, very what would say, significant stakeholders of the,
Yeah.
maybe they feel that
Well, we've tried to groom people like nutritionists or nurses to groom them into a professional level, but it's difficult to find talent.
right.
Yeah. So I think if you talk to most of the entrepreneurs in your program, I think that's one of the key challenges these
Yeah.
days.
Key challenges.
Yeah.
Even I myself is having those similar challenges as well. Okay, so 10 years has passed.
Yeah.
How long do you take for you to go, from day one of this business all the way
Yeah.
to the 10 years? How many years do you go before you finally say, okay, yeah, business is starting on its own?
Actually, the business was running well within the first 6 months, and it's been very steady. Again, one of the things is we keep our overheads low, we deliver good service, and there's no pressure on us. And also, it's not really a traditional business where people think about it to make it into, hundreds centers like a chain, expand
Right.
worldwide. It's not that kind of a business.
Okay.
So when I started, it started just like my skateboard business and my internet business. It all started as a hobby business. I was on a sabbatical. I wanted to start this center because I discovered something like a revelation to me.
So you went to Fiji with the intention of starting something?
No.
No. So you just found that out, when you
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah, I just wanted to get healthy again, and to me it was just exercise. I thought and just relaxing, but there's so much more to it. There's nutrition, exercise, and so on and so forth. So that expanded my thoughts. So I thought, okay, I want to have a place where I could cleanse my body of toxins and I could use it for me and my family. And it became a 10-year business, you know what I mean? And over the years, we've had people ask us to open up in Singapore, open up in
I'm sure.
Egypt,
Yeah.
open up in Australia. And I'm like thinking, man, there's not enough of us to go around.
Right.
And it's going to be stressful. And that's what I learned to get away from when I left the corporate world. I don't want to have stress.
So your motivation is more of you want something, you want a foundation that will sustain the entire family and keep everyone happy rather than to go long and shoot for the stars.
Yeah, we didn't plan it the way that it turned out to be like this. I planned it to be like a little small center, catering for us, and to offset the investment in all the machines and everything, we open it up and have people come in and use our equipment. But it just took on a life of its own, and before you know it, we were having like days where we have like 15 people a day coming in, and it's like wow, so it's one of those things that just unfolded the way it did. I'm a corporate person, so I did a business plan for it.
Yeah.
And it was pathetic. I looked at the business plan, I go, okay, single digit ROI.
I won't invest in this.
So yeah, but we went ahead anyway. So that's one of those things that sometimes you just gotta have, where the passion overrides the logic. You just find a way,
Yeah, that's the harder pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I mean,
that ruins people sometimes. So it's hard
yeah.
to tell whether that's the right thing to do or not.
and I suppose that's one of the reasons why many younger people refuse to go into entrepreneurship, because being so comfortable in a multinational company, right, whereby you see numbers and you make decisions based on numbers. When you look at something like this, the first thing you go is, I won't do this.
Yeah.
Or the company I work for won't do this.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for them to say, yeah, but what if?
Yeah. Actually, in business, what I realized is that one tip I give people is that if you really want to get something done, you can do it. It's just whether you're willing to pay the price for it.
Right.
So paying price in terms of effort and thinking and work, actual action. So we just made it happen. So on paper, it was like, it didn't look very good, but over time, we just managed to make it happen. Like we also, our business is primarily the detox program that we have and the lifestyle transformation program. And we just started getting, like for example, we wanted to get a juicer to make healthy juice for us. Because one of the things we discovered is people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. So one of the good ways is to juice. So we just got the rights to distribute a very good slow speed juicer. And now that's being sold in Just Life stores all over Malaysia, for example. So then we never factored it into the business plan, and things like that, you know. So we also became distributors of products, and also helped us to meet a lot of people, you know, day to day. We meet a lot, like I told you, CEOs, people who help us, you know, say, hey, you know, you should look into this product line. It's really good, and like, and that's how our business is the way it is today.
So you also mentioned earlier that you have a more social life, in the sense that you go out to help people to establish businesses and stuff like that. You also did numerous interviews or with videos on business.
Yeah, we were talking before about podcasts and stuff like that, right? So, yeah, so we didn't get into all the other businesses that I run, right? Besides talking about skateboards, but then
you're a man of all trades, many trades.
I get interested in things and then I pursue it.
Right.
Yeah. So in 2006, we were fortunate enough to meet Bob Proctor, who is in personal development guru. And in 2006 was the year that The Secret came out. I don't know whether you remember that.
Yes.
It was a DVD, but now it's a best-selling book.
Yeah.
And yeah, through a lot of attraction through one of my clients, because we were doing health workshops and teaching people about, and we were sharing The Secret as one of the things, because one of the philosophies we have is that the mind-body connection, how your thoughts affect your physical health.
Yes.
And he said, hey, you're going to meet Bob Proctor. So he managed to set us up for a networking event when I met him. And he was telling us that he's actually trying to expand the product online. And there I saw opportunity because of my background in the internet.
Yes.
So we very quickly put together a program to help distribute products online, and we worked together we presented it to Bob, and we got the deal to work with him, and we sold about $4 million of product within the first 6 months of launching this program. So that's why I have also a digital internet business, and that's in partnership with the Mind Valley Group, which I think you're familiar with as well. That's how I found out about your bag business. So so we have a few product lines that I work with Mind Valley for personal development and digital distribution. So during the course of setting up all these things for this program, I learned how to do podcasts, webinars, and things like that. And so I decided to do one on my own website on brianwong.com. So I would make sort of podcasts like this, which I think is great because it helps a lot of people. So I started doing it about personal development and about business success and things like that. Yeah.
How long were you doing that?
I was doing that on and off for since about 2007 until now. But I think I haven't been posting much on my blog for a while because I've been so busy with the skateboard business.
Any glory stories from that?
I think I'm quite proud of it because it's a hobby site again.
Yes.
But it gets about 10,000 visitors per month. And the content I created is quite I call it timeless.
Yes.
Like things like how to manage your time, how to achieve financial freedom, how to do all these things. So, and it's very short. So it was more like a testing ground for me to learn stuff because I like to learn stuff. Like I learned the piano on my own. I learned how to do Photoshop, how to do HTML programming and stuff like that. So it just gave me a base to learn stuff and put it up and not have it go to waste. So still today it's the traffic stats are still pretty good. Yeah.
Now to say you have a bad case of ADHD. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, my wife will tell you the same thing because I get my ADHD is very specific. I latch onto something and I eat, sleep, breathe it until I make something of it.
Right.
And then I move on to something else.
Very, very ADHD.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but normally ADHD is you do it and then before you finish it, you move on to something else.
That's true.
But I don't like unfinished business.
So you clean it all out.
Yeah. I make sure it's actually something that there's some value that's left out of that.
I'm still trying to solve that problem. Okay, so when do you decide how do you come across Evolve and how did that start?
I guess I find myself saying the same thing. It's like it's a hobby that turned into a business. So one of the things that we're planning to do is we're actually not planning to, we're already doing it. We're building a house in a jungle because, again, health is one of my core values.
Right.
And what I realized is that, and I have 2 young kids, I want my family to grow up in an environment that's healthy. So we're actually building just a small little house in the jungle in Pahang, and we plan to move there actually. And I wanted to get around the area because it's quite hilly. So I was Googling for electric bicycles because I've read about some of these things. And through that research, came across electric skateboards.
Hi, I'm Patrick, and thanks for watching Concrete Jungle. If this is the first time you're watching the show, welcome. Concrete Jungle is a podcast about entrepreneurial spirit. We met up with a lot of very interesting individuals to talk about their business or to talk about their thought-provoking project, how they brought that vision from zero to hero. Concrete Jungle is a passion project that is supported by Green Room 136. At Green Room 136, we design and handmade some really crazy, wicked urban bags. These are all made in Malaysia, and if you like bags, go on to greenroom136.com and really check it out. Now, if you like Concrete Jungle and you feel that the show brings you benefit, here are a few things that you can do to support us and help us to grow. First thing you can do is like us on facebook.com/ConcreteJungleShow and leave us a comment. Let us know whether you like the show, or if you feel that some shows are beneficial, share that with the rest of the Facebook fans. Then subscribe to us on youtube.com/ConcreteJungleShow. Leave us a comment, give us a review, or just say hi. The other thing you can do is go to greenroom136.com and check out our life's work. Who knows, you might see something that you like. And if you do decide to buy something for yourself, feel free to use the coupon code ConcreteJungleShow. For Concrete Jungle fans, you get 10% off your purchase. How cool is that? If you want to listen to the audio version of the show, subscribe to us on iTunes. Go to bit.ly/ConcreteJungleShow. Now, once you're there, send us a review, write us a review, subscribe to the show, give us a rating. Now, iTunes works in a specific way. If you give us a good rating, if you give us a good review, it will bump the entire show up the charts. So who knows? We could be top 3 best podcasts in the whole of Malaysia. Fingers crossed. Now, so final. Share it with all your friends. And if you feel that, if you come across a friend, and this is what I come across most of the time, and this is one of the reasons why I continue to do this show. If you come across a friend who wants to start up a business or start up a project, but they didn't know where to start, they didn't know how to begin. So when I point them to a specific show that is relevant to them, they will thrill, and they get even more inspired. And we do get some people who ended up starting a project. So yeah, share it to as many people as you can. Right? So thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to me babble. And here's to more babbling. Let's continue with the show.
So I was Googling for electric bicycles because I've read about some of these things. And through that research, came across electric skateboards. And I bought one. And then a few months later, I bought another one. And pretty soon I had 4.
Wow.
So again, I was thinking to myself, I might as well just distribute it because I can't get it here, and getting support is always so far away. So I had a conversation much like this with Jeff, who's the founder of Evolve, about business models, and his boards are always sold out. It's always sold out. He can't make them fast enough. So we were discussing business models, and I said, one of the ways to expand is to duplicate yourself in different regions. And so he started that. Now he's signed up 9 distributors worldwide, and I took up the Asia distributorship. Yeah. So that's how it started, as a hobby, and then now it's a business.
So was it difficult to take on during year 1? I mean, okay, consider the fact that you are just only 1 year into the business, right?
6 months.
6 months in. Okay, so how is it like the early stages? Was it difficult to bring in a distribution of this product?
Same story as Pure Health.
Right.
Difficult for anyone who's not passionate about the business. Easy for someone who is.
Yes.
So for me, I love the business because I think it's a great product. think you put some footage of some demos later just to show how fun it is. It's basically like having a hoverboard.
Yes.
Being able to fly around anywhere, you know. So I really want people to see this. It's really fun for people who are interested in board sports, right? So bringing it in was a challenge because in Malaysia the customs is they don't they think actually skateboards is not dutiable, but when it comes in all different parts, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a challenge getting it
Oh.
through customs.
All right. So they were probably taxing you based on the
Yeah,
different
exactly.
compartments.
Components, and they're
Like spare parts rather than the actual product lah.
correct. And there's literally like 20 different components, right?
Right.
So that was a learning process. That was a challenge. Challenge number 2 was spreading the word. Same thing with Pure Health. But now that we've had our first batch sold out, the word is slowly spreading itself. You know, so people who have their own board, when they ride and their friends see it, they're like, oh man, I want one of those too. So that's how it.
So how much does the board cost?
In Malaysia, it's 3,500.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. In the US dollars, it's 1,001. US.
Okay, so and that is for which particular model, or how many models do you have, and how do you differentiate?
As of this interview,
Right.
we have 2 models. We call it
Yeah.
the bamboo range. They're both made of bamboo decks, lightweight, very tough, and they are only each board is about 8 to 9 kilos only. But about to be released is our all-terrain version, which has pneumatic wheels that can go on grass and dirt roads and stuff like that. So that's coming out probably end of the year. Yeah. So the bamboo range is the first range, 3,500, and then the all-terrain model coming out end of the year. Yeah. Price not fixed yet.
Right.
So
Right.
we're not sure because we're doing the tooling now, so we
Yes.
haven't had the final cost for the parts yet.
Okay.
But it'll be more expensive because it's quite high tech.
Yeah, with it. Yeah,
With carbon fiber. And,
Okay.
yeah.
So
You've seen it.
I've seen it. Yes. I probably will not be able to walk out of this place. So prior to the 6 months that you're involved, how long has Evolve been in the business of making
Evolve
electronic boards?
started selling boards in July of last year, 2012.
Right. Also a year. So quite an infant.
Quite infant. Before that, so Jeff's story. That's why we get along so well.
Right.
Because this is not his main business either. You know, his main business is he's a landscaper, but he lives in the Gold Coast and loves to surf.
Throw his name, Jeff.
Jeff Anning. Jeff
okay.
Anning. Yeah.
All right.
Jeff Anning. So his story is quite unique because he's a surfer. One day he saw the traditional electric skateboards, which are really heavy and really bulky, and he said, hey, I can make that better. Didn't think of it as starting a business. He just bought the parts and made it, and then he's started selling it to his friends, and then he just couldn't make them fast enough. That's how but it took him 3 years, and he had to sell his house. So that's commitment.
Wow.
He mortgaged his house. Very brave man because he has a young child, right? To pursue this business, and that's what attracted me to want to help him also, because I was like, you gotta grow, but you can't grow given your current system without incurring lots of costs and requiring lots of capital expenditure. But one solution is duplication. Instead of having expensive infrastructure overheads, hiring a lot of people, you make lots of people around the world become your business partner, and they invest in the same kind of small infrastructure to supply the market. And it turned out really well. Like he sold like thousands of boards now.
Did he had a concern that having a setup like this might open up his secret sauce to the world?
No, because it's making these skateboards from scratch. Like I said, it took him 3 years.
Yes.
And lots of investment. So he knows that if you want to do it from scratch today, it takes a lot.
But is it easy to steal that idea, or to steal the boards and the board designs, the PCB board designs and all that?
Yes and no. There are other electric boards in the market, but the way that ours is made, the combination is through hard work, really.
Yes.
It's through making a model, test riding it, and then saying, hell no, this is too low, this is too short, this material is not the right one, and retooling. And
There's a
then
lot of
test again.
fine-tuning
A
involved.
lot of fine-tuning involved, and I got to appreciate that because when we were doing the testing for the all-terrain version, just something simple like board length can take months because to manufacture a carbon fiber mold, it takes 2 months, you know, for the factory to tool it, to change it, or you know. So yeah, the business model is it's also the other thing that comes with the Evolve brand is the the support that comes with it, because the people who are distributors, 9 guys which I'm in touch with, are all very passionate about it as well. Like we've got guys in Germany, in France, in Canada, and we're always conversing with each other. And I can tell in our conversation that we're always talking about, oh, how fun it is to ride, where is it? It's not so much about business, you know? And also, when you're that passionate, when your customers need help or they ask for advice, the response is totally different from someone who's totally dispassionate.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about because you're a user yourself.
Yeah. And it's fun. So it's fun to talk to our customers and say, hey, you know, what bushings are you using? How fast are you turning? You know, what kind of range you're getting? And it's so far, like our Facebook pages, I feel like it's one big family of, you know, land surfers, so to speak, you know. Yeah.
So how long does it sorry, wrong question. I heard a question in my mouth. Okay, so how many boards are you able to sell right now on a monthly basis? And where are the geographic mix of this of the sales right now?
Right now we distribute the first batch of 50 boards we sold out in 2 months.
Right.
Yeah, so we're doing about.
And this is all through word of mouth.
Yeah, through word of mouth and through Facebook.
Right.
We don't really do Google AdWords at the moment, so just like we've got 3,000 fans on our Facebook page, and what we do is we just go out riding, make videos on our GoPro camera, upload it, and then people see it and go, wow, what's that? Yeah, so we're doing batches of 50, so every 1 to 2 months. Yeah, so small quantities, making sure that the quality is there and that we can support the people who purchase the boards.
Yeah, and it's also easy for you to take on a project as this, because like 50 boards in about 2 months, you barely make enough to sustain the business, or to sustain the business. But I suppose it's also because of your other life that is able to sustain your entire expenses of your livelihood.
Yeah, I mean,
you have a foundation, or you have a tree that bears money for you to take on this passion project or the hobby project.
It helps, but I treat every business that I run as a standalone, in the sense that when I look at how it's performing, I look at it as a standalone. It helps in the sense that I'm not as stressed about it because it's not my sole income. And number two is, like I said in the beginning, it's a hobby, and if the hobby takes off, it's great. That's how I treat everything. So we haven't even talked about all the other hobby businesses I've had. Like, I make iPad apps and stuff like that. But so the volume is intentionally kept small, because if I had to manufacture 100 a month or 200 a month, then I'll have to scale up. I'll have to hire staff and
because
change.
right now you are literally making the boards here by yourself.
So I assemble. It takes me about 20 minutes per board to assemble.
I suppose we forgot to even mention that Evolve right now in Malaysia is only you. You have no team, backing you up.
I have my apprentice son who helps to.
Which is how old?
6 years old.
6 years old.
Assemble the trucks, but and my wife. So, and it's a way that I like it. So, it may be good advice, or it may be bad advice for business entrepreneurs. Because the business entrepreneurs will tell you, find good people, give the business to them. That's what Richard Branson says in his books. Because I read all these books. And they like to take a lot of risk and leverage up the business and scale and do all this kind of stuff. But I've done that side of the business in the corporate world, and it's not for me. So maybe it's great for a multi-billionaire. But for me, I'm a lifestyle business person. So I like a business that suits my lifestyle. So I can go riding, and that's my business. Or I can stay healthy, and that's my business. You know, so I don't feel like I'm working at any time of the day. So maybe good advice or maybe bad advice, but my philosophy in business is something that I'm passionate about, something that's very unique. There's no other comparison in the market. Get decent enough margin so that you can provide the proper support. Because if you're not making money on every product you sell,
Yeah.
you don't.
May as well.
Yeah, you don't feel like, oh, why am I supporting
There's no motivation
this?
for you
no
to
motivation.
say, let's sell the next one.
Exactly.
Right.
And also keep the overheads low so that you're not stressing, you're not getting sleepless nights over the business. Yeah, and just make sure that the products delivers what it promises.
So is it difficult to sell a board that's $3,000 in Malaysia?
It's difficult to sell to the wrong person. In Malaysia, it's difficult because I haven't been spending a lot of time marketing in Malaysia. I've been marketing a lot in Singapore because I like riding there.
Right.
So maybe it's a factor of me. So I've been going down to Singapore to ride with customers, and every time I go down, there's more people joining the group. And Singapore is like skateboarding heaven. You just ride around Marina Bay, 2 hours non-stop, surrounded by multi-billion-dollar buildings,
Right.
and infrastructure. Very nice. And not only that, the pavements are wide and smooth, and the authorities, they welcome it. So there are other people rollerblading or bicycling while we're skateboarding. So it's really fun. In Malaysia, I think there's a lot of potential, because what I've discovered when I got into this business is how many parks we have that I never knew about. Like, have you heard of Kepong Metropolitan Park? I don't know whether you...
No.
There's like a 3-kilometer track around a beautiful lake.
Wow, okay.
You know, with nice paved roads and Desa Park City, Metropolitan Park, Putrajaya is also skateboarding heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
Just got to travel a bit to get there, but also there's Putrajaya.
Well, you are assured one thing, traffic is going to be extremely low.
Yeah.
So
but
that's
facilities
awesome.
there. I think a lot of people don't realize how much there are in Malaysia. You know, like Putrajaya Challenge Park is a multi-million-dollar facility. It's free. So there's a skate park there with bowls and palms, and that's free. But nobody knows about it. At least the people that I talk to, they're like, what? There's such a thing?
Okay.
So I think in Malaysia it's harder because it's not part of our culture. Unlike Singapore, where the government has planned, you know, park connectors and parks everywhere.
Also because the country itself is small.
Yeah.
The entire island is a city by itself. That is the city. That is Singapore.
Yeah, but the facilities, you know, the infrastructure for bicycles.
It's easier for them to plan.
Yeah, maybe. Correct. Yeah.
It's easier for them to
But
say, let's build that there, and people will come because you know they are just like a stone throw away.
Yeah, they have the foresight to see, you know, when you build a community, it's like playing, what do you call it, SimCity. You know?
Yeah.
When you build a city, you gotta have all this infrastructure, and then to keep everyone happy, at the community parks and recreation and stuff like that. Whereas Malaysia is like, okay, you want to build this development? Sure. You know, there's no real town planning in Malaysia. You know, I don't want to go into the reasons why. you and I will know why, but it's not planned as well. But there are such facilities if you seek them out. So that's not part of the culture of people to just say, oh, you know, let's go to the park and ride. But there are lots of facilities. So I think Malaysia is a bit more, requires a bit more effort. But still, you know, lots of fun places to ride here. Yeah.
And also with the traffic and then the distance, you know. Yeah. Singapore, they always say, you know, anywhere in Singapore is always 20 minutes or half an hour away. And we are here at least 2-3 hours away. Yeah. Because of the traffic, sometimes it's just plain crazy.
Yeah, so like in terms of the marketplace right now, Malaysia is probably like 4th in there. I think the 5th, I sold quite a lot of boards in Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong. But you know, even Hong Kong is not really known for a place to skateboard, you know.
Yeah, congestion.
Yeah. But I guess people who find us already know how they're going to use it, you know? Right. So yeah, I can't figure out what is the factor that drives electric skateboard purchase.
Maybe at this point of time, 6 months down the business, perhaps it could be a different interview next year.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
So what is the planning like with Jeff in terms of how far and long can you bring this business to?
We have a very loose agreement. Basically, we had a conversation. We say, hey, you know, if it's fun for you, fun for me, let's do it. If it's not fun anymore, let's not do it. You know, so far it's been extremely fun. and productive. Yeah, so the arrangement is very simple. As long as we keep selling the boards, we keep doing it. We have to sell 100 boards a year, and we're already sold out the first batch, and already got the second batch in.
Yeah, so the remaining, the 100 is going to be a very loose target to hit.
Yeah, especially now.
Jeff should increase our quota.
Okay, he's
After
not
watching this interview.
He's not allowed to do this interview, but yeah, no. So I basically said to him, like, my next target is to expand to Japan, because I think Japan is a very good market to explore. They have nice roads there, and also the price is very cheap relative to other sports there.
So when you go into a place like Japan, right now you have a distribution ship for a few countries in Asia, and you're a one-man show.
Yeah.
How do you go about touching the customers? And right now you mentioned that it's all purely online. Do you feel that you need to be present in these locations in order to do a good job?
No, because I think that the business place has changed. So the storefront, the online storefront is so advanced now. Like I can just look at my phone and see who's actually on my site, and I can chat with them. The only challenge in Japan is language, but I have I know a lot of people here who are Japanese, but they're just looking for something part-time to do.
I see.
So my plan is to have the site translated, have some customer support in Japanese, but still maintain very low overheads, everything all online. We just have a Japanese-facing site. As far as the customer experience is concerned, it's exactly the same. So we just have one assembly base, but we ship worldwide. So the things that change is like e-commerce is very more acceptable right now. Like, so people are not averse to buy stuff online. Number two is shipping costs also has come down. So it's quite easy for us to pack up the boards into a box. We have all the packing material, get a courier company, ship it to them, and fortunately, because it's a higher price product, so the shipping cost, if you pay 120 US, is nothing. It's not like you're shipping little Tupperware or something, and that's expensive. So relative cost of shipping is, as a percentage of the price of the price, is like nothing. So that makes this product very good one to sell online.
Okay. What is it? What are the challenge? What are the key things you need for? Okay, let's say an individual wants to do distribution for a product. They see a product that they love and stuff like that. What are the few key things that they must think about first before engaging the principal to say, hey, I want to distribute this product in my country?
You gotta do some basic assessment, and it's not no black and white. That's what I learned over the years. If you look at the numbers and it makes sense, great. Okay, so one of the few things I would advise, let's say somebody says to me, like, I want to sell something online, what do I do? I think first thing you do is you assess the market demand for it, the existing demand for it. Okay, so how you do that is you just go to Google, the AdWords tool, and see how many people search for it. So if you want to sell a widget, you say, look, how many people search for widget, right? Just type widgets on the Google search words, and if you get more than 10,000 searches per month, possible. Yeah, but you see, like why I say it's not black and white, it's a bit of an art to it, is because some products people don't, like Steve Jobs says, people don't even know they want it yet.
Yeah.
Like the skateboards is a classic example. People don't even know they want it, because until they step on one, they realize, hey, the technology is there, it's quiet, it's light, it travels for the 30 kilometers range. Then they realize, hey, I want it. So if it's something that is already established, do the Google AdWords search. If it's not, you have to try and see whether people are looking for electric bicycles or things that are comparable to it. And if you see that there's actually demand for that, then the next step is to look at the margins. The next step is look for competition. If it's very heavy competition, I just won't do it.
Okay. Too much work.
I just don't like competing with people.
Yeah.
Because when you compete with people, it's not fun. You gotta drop the price, or you gotta do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of competition is fine, but if it's extreme competition, then there's no point. I don't like arguments. If you're gonna have an argument, I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah.
So then the third thing is look at the numbers, the financial numbers. What's the margins? How much will it cost you to bring it in? What are the taxes? So, if having gone through these things and it's still okay, then it's possible to consider that as a potential thing. But the number one thing is you gotta have a passion for it.
Mm.
For any business, if you've got no passion for the business, you're not really passionate about delivering your product or your service to your customer, don't even go into business. No point. You end up hating it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what some of the key things that they when you go into a distribution, right? One of the key things that's being discussed is targets, or
Yeah.
you know, like for example, certain countries distributors tend to ask for sole distributorship. How do you encounter? How do you think about all those sort of things?
Okay, so far everyone that we've approached to ask for sole distributorship, not averse to it, because most of these distributorship agreements is that the termination clause is quite loose, like 3 months notice, and you can terminate. So if I was a distributor, I wouldn't, you know, somebody said, look, I want to sell in Timbuktu, I'm like, sure, you know, you sell 100 units, you can have exclusive. So after a year, because I'm not planning to go into Timbuktu, but if there's not 100 sales, I can either extend it or I can terminate it. So you'd be surprised that a lot of people don't mind giving exclusive rights to a region, as long as the person can demonstrate that they are really passionate. No, they demonstrate that they're passionate about promoting it. Not even performance, you know, because performance is going to be part of the agreement.
Yeah, okay. So it's more of passion.
Yeah.
So it sounds like every business you're going into, you know, again, we are repeating, you are going into it as a hobby, as a passion rather than something to sustain yourself with.
Yeah.
Then that sustenance come after that.
Yeah. Actually, that's
the secret, right?
The passion is a secret.
Pun intended.
But the sustenance is not really that, you know, because like for example, like Jeff sold his house to do the business.
Which is extremely scary, you know.
But he's passionate about it.
So he could smell something lah.
Yeah, he could see it because he was selling it to his friends and he just needed to expand. He had to, you know, put in the money to make the molds and to make he had to go for it. So he did, and it paid off. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Before we wrap, what are anything else that you want to talk about in regards to Evolve?
Not really. I think as long as, you know, people, I guess one of my things is getting the board to a happy home.
Yes.
That's one of my philosophies. So if I can, how I do that is either I ride with someone and they find a joy, great, then they get a board, or it's through the videos that we post up online, or through this interview. You know, if people who are passionate about snowboarding, wakeboarding, and
or through fan base who's able to organize themselves.
Yeah, actually we already have groups self-organizing. They're
User
doing
groups and all that.
night rides and stuff like that. They just post it up on a Facebook page. So yeah, it's just about spreading the word, and also from the other thing is to encourage more business and entrepreneurial people, because I think that, you know, doing the traditional work in a job is a recipe for unhappiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do explain.
Okay,
That's a very interesting topic.
We're gonna wrap. No, I think that anything where your income level is capped to your time is, unless you're really happy doing that kind of work, is you know, recipe for not financial freedom, let's say. Yeah. So you got to do something where there's the amount of income that you can make is not tied up to your time.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my advice for people. So people who want to explore entrepreneurship, definitely I would encourage that, because it's scary and it requires capital and stuff like that. But that's the way to financial freedom. Yeah. You can only do that through a business or through investments.
Yes.
Yeah. And most times investments require capital.
Yes.
So you gotta do a business, to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are the top 3 things would you tell someone who wants to go into distribution, like what you're doing, or go into a passion project, like a passion business like yours? Top 3 things.
I think first thing is really believe in the product and be passionate about it. Like really like the product so much that you would share it with people anyway. That's the first thing that will keep you interested in it. Number 2 is you gotta approach it with good common sense. Look at the numbers, but also look at, it's like I said, it's a bit of an art. So you have to look make sure it makes financial sense, and make sure that the assumptions of that financial model is correct, and you have to have, you know, the way to find out whether you're on the right track is maybe ask a mentor or someone who's been in business that you trust to sort of give some business advice. And the third thing is to persevere. If you face challenges, you can overcome it. I don't think there's anything that will stop you, you know. So if you work out rule number 1, which is having a belief and passion of a product. Number 3 is just don't give up. Just keep finding a better way to overcome the challenges.
You ever thought of the extent of mortgaging your house?
I think so, yeah. There's quite, you know, a lot of times in my life where I felt that something so strongly that I would actually do that if I had to.
But you're still working based on gut, right? I mean, we're still Jedi Knights in some way. Use the Force, Luke.
Yeah, but sometimes, you know, we only talk about success, but sometimes I pick up a product, it doesn't sell. So we've had some equipment that I'm very passionate about, but for whatever reason doesn't sell very well. But you know, the other thing is
Do you still drop that?
No.
You still hang on to it?
I make sure that so there's best case scenario, expected scenario, worst case scenario. And worst case scenario is always acceptable.
Right.
To me. So I'm the opposite entrepreneur. I'm a very risk averse person. I don't like lots of risk. So I take in small samples, you know, if it doesn't sell, the market doesn't pick it up, it's fine. I don't lose any money, but it don't make any money either.
I suppose by starting at a small volume, you'll be able to tell, you know, if this works, this doesn't work.
Exactly, you got to test.
In real life scenario.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much.
Yeah, for me, I always try and test the waters before you jump in. Yeah.
What's number 2 and 3?
What do you mean?
The top 3 things. So the first one was
first one was passion.
Passion.
Number 2 is look at the common sense part of it.
Right.
Okay, so passion is the emotion part of it.
Right.
The second part is the logical part of it.
Yes.
And then the third part is just don't give up. Find a way. You know, when the unforeseen obstacles appear, you just keep your eye on the goal and just keep working towards that. These are the top 3 things, I would say.
Okay. To wrap, I always ask this to all the people I've interviewed. Where do you see yourself today, or where do you see the business today, zero or hero? And what do you make of it?
My own business right now. I think right now it's well, we sold out our first batch, but we've reinvested all the profits into the second batch. So I'd say it's still time will tell, but from the customer feedback, I'd say it's a hero.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you very much. Oh, before we go, do you have anything you want to plug? Where can you go to pick up a board?
Go to evolveskateboards.asia. Yeah,
that's your site.
Yeah, that's for the Asia site. Or you can go to the .com, and that will. I made that site as well, so that will go to
everyone.
All the other places, yeah, all the other 9 distributors.
Great. Anything else you want to plug? Like, do you have a ride coming up soon that people can come and check it out?
I'm happy to go riding anytime. So if anyone wants to do a test ride or anything, go to evolveskateboards.asia and get in touch with me through the contact us page, and then I'm happy to sort something out. Whether Singapore, Malaysia, or just go riding, because we got some demo boards that we're always happy to take people out.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.